and welcome back to another episode of Storm Stories. Today we are joined by Renaud. She is our Head of Marketing and Vendor Alliance here at Storm. So Anna, can you tell us how your journey at Storm began?
So my journey in IT has been a bit of a crazy one. I've had multiple different jobs and had kind of exposure across the whole sector in terms of jobs that you could have. So I originally started as sales support at a different IT reseller, which is where I met Nick Umney and a few of the other guys who actually work at Storm. From there, I moved into the software licensing team. So I was working with Microsoft EAs and looking at people's software estate, how we can help them, etc., etc. From there, I actually moved to another reseller, which was software licensing only. That's all that we sold. I then progressed into the events team because I found that a little bit more interesting for me. I kind of got to the point where having a commission structure was difficult for me to kind of live by. I take my hats off to anybody who's a salesperson. From there, I then got my first marketing manager role, and it was at that point where, because I'd only sold software licensing or only marketed software licensing, I needed a new challenge, and I spoke to Nick because he was working at Storm at the time, and I knew that they were looking for somebody to come in and kind of start marketing, not only software but hardware, so laptops and servers, etc. So that's how I first came to Storm.
So you said you knew Nick before. What was it, apart from Nick, that really drew you to Storm?
So I suppose Storm is quite an interesting one because I feel like it's still maybe, in terms of the IT industry, still a bit of a secret of what we do, how we operate. But I knew quite a few of the guys that worked here and they all said, best company to work for, it's fantastic, you've got that kind of human touch element, directors know you all by name. And I thought, well, that's got to be good. There's so many people that have been here for so long. You've got people here that have been here for 18 years, 20 years since the day Storm opened its doors. So I came in for an interview and just seeing how, I suppose just walking in on the sales floor and you can feel how happy everybody is. And that speaks volumes really, because nobody knew I was coming in, no one knew I was coming for an interview, and just watching people and seeing how everybody interacted with each other, I was like, yeah, I want to get in on this.
So I guess if you could just tell us more about your journey at Storm and how you've progressed to the position that you are today.
So when I first came to Storm, I just solely looked after the marketing piece, which was great exposure into the whole industry with vendors, and distributors and so on. And I did I think I was here for like about 4 years, I think. And I just had my eldest, and I don't know, I felt like I needed more of a challenge. I was kind of conscious that I've just had a child, I want to prove myself and I want to get as far as I can. I don't know what that looked like at the time, and I still couldn't tell you what that really looked like in my head. So a job came up at another reseller, which was a great global reseller, and that was just looking after Microsoft and AWS, Amazon Web Services, which was a huge role. So I thought, right, I'm going to give that a go, see how I get on. And I think when you talk about what first attracted me to Storm, I think I had in my head that every reseller would have that same human touch and have, people that knew you by name who were in the senior leadership team. And when I started at this other company, whilst, yes, it was great to, get the job and work with such huge manufacturers, I then became lost in this big global company for someone who's so loud to feel like they were silenced. Yeah, I hadn't thought that through. I hadn't thought about why was the whole reason I came to Storm in the first place? What was I then lacking? And it was being collaborative with people in higher up positions or learning new skills. So whilst, yes, I had a huge role, that's all I did. I didn't learn about, the financial side of things or looking at commercials, or I was just put in a box and that was my job.
So then you came back and then what happened?
So I left. It was only a few years. I then came back to Storm because various reasons. I then had another child, and I am career driven, and I suppose it is tricky to have a family but be career driven. So when I was coming back from my maternity leave in 2021, I wanted to then take on the vendor alliance role. Again, two big roles, but I feel like the two go hand in hand. You're having these marketing conversations with people, so why not incorporate looking at commercials and who we work with, what is our IT technology stack, working with other parts of the business, because I felt like I was on top of my marketing side, so I wanted to take on a new challenge. So I spoke with Nick and JB, and that was agreed that I would then take on another part when returning after maternity leave.
In your role as head of marketing and vendor alliance, what are some strategies that you've introduced that have had a real positive impact on Storm and our customers?
I think, and again, going back to what attracted me first to come to Storm, it's looking at, for me, when I have members in my team, how do I like to be managed? How do I feel that I'm doing or progressing in the right direction? And I think a lot of that comes down to collaboration and communication. So, we do have an open door policy here. I'm sure people have mentioned that before. And I feel like that's really important. It's key, especially in marketing, giving my team a platform to bring new ideas, not feel like they're kind of silenced or squashed, or that anyone's going to laugh at anything that they bring to the table. Because, even Storm Stories, let's be honest, its inception was something quite different. But as we discussed it with various people across the business, it's then kind of grown into what hopefully people are finding very interesting.
So you touched upon having an open door policy. I just wanted to get your thoughts on why you think that that's important to have in a company like this, and how, it benefits you and the people that we work with.
So I particularly remember coming back from my second maternity leave, and obviously I'd taken on part of a new role, and like anybody, not that you put yourself under pressure to make sure that you perform, and coming back from maternity leave, I was incredibly nervous. It's not like I didn't know anyone, but there was still, I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to make sure that, I hadn't missed too much, because IT evolves so quickly, and taking 10 months out is a lot of time, especially because there's so many new things that are brought to market every day. And I remember my first day back, or might be the first week, and kind of JB was like, let's have a chat, let's have a catch up. And I got a bit nervous, because I thought, oh gosh, what's he gonna ask me? And it was literally just to say, please don't put yourself under any pressure. We understand, especially because obviously his wife's had 3 children. There's a lot of families here at Storm, and he was just reminding me to, take the pressure off, take your time to get yourself back into the role and back into Storm, because it is a big deal, taking time out and having a child, and all the worry that comes with returning to work and having your child in childcare. And he understands that side of how somebody would feel. So it's important that everybody does feel like an individual, and they're not seen as a number on a book. And I feel like that's kind of echoed across the whole business. Everybody does feel like an individual.
So you said that when you came back from maternity leave, you struggled a little bit to get up to date with what happened in the IT world when you were gone. How do you manage that? How do you continue to stay up to date in this fast-paced industry?
This is where having the vendor alliance role actually helped me, because I had to have meetings to introduce myself, meet new people, speak to different vendors, and I needed to understand their value proposition, where have they come from, where are they going, what's their journey, what are their plans, what are their growth aspirations, so that I could match them with Storm. So actually I feel like it helped when I came back, because I'm the new girl, I'm the new person. I can ask as many questions as I want without worrying that, oh, should I know that, or have I already asked that question? So that actually worked to my advantage and helped me kind of learn where people have been, what they're doing, where they're going. So that actually helped me.
So you talked a lot about work, but beyond work, beyond Storm, what are your hobbies and interests?
So pre-children was definitely travelling and seeing as much of the world as possible, and scuba diving. Love scuba diving. Don't get a chance to really do it as much anymore with the boys, but that's fine. But now I'm really getting into weightlifting, because for me it's very much, if I feel strong in my body, then I feel strong in my mind. I'm ready to face the day, face new challenges.
So looking ahead now, what are some exciting projects that are on the horizon for the marketing team and Storm in general?
So 2024, I feel is going to be really exciting. I can't wait for Microsoft Copilot to come out, for example. Really interested in AI. How's it going to shape everybody's role, not just in IT, but across every vertical? You know, how is it going to help us? What's it going to do? I still feel like there's a bit of resistance in what AI looks like or can do. So I'll be interested to see what happens in that kind of space. I think in terms of Storm and what we have, our sustainable IT program is a really hot topic and something we're pushing next year. That's on our agenda. And also Storm Blackout, which I'm sure people will see coming soon.
And lastly, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
When you're growing up and when you're younger and you're trying to find your path, career path or personal path, whatever, you have to have that confidence and have that belief in yourself that you can do anything you put your mind to. So yeah, I feel like that's just a good bit of advice. I still use it now.
And yeah, what a great piece of advice to end our episode of Storm Stories. Join us next time.